right, what's up, everybody? Welcome in to Sportstopia Fantasy Fire and Ice NBA edition. Corey Parson, the fantasy executive, legendary Steve Alexander, Dr. A. Doc, what's going on with you? First time talking to you since the season has officially begun. How's it going?
Oh, it's going well. I'm glad that our bosses were not awake when James Harden got traded at 2:30 this morning, or you and I probably would have been convening like this at 3 a.m. to break that down for the good people.
No doubt about it. So that did happen overnight in the wee hours of the morning. The James Harden situation is now taken care of, Doc, as James Harden gets his wish, traded to the Los Angeles Clippers. Don't look like the Philadelphia 76ers really got much in return, but Doc, they kind of had their hands tied in this situation right here. James Harden is now a member of the Clippers, and we can party like it's 2017.
Yeah, I mean, what a happy rowboat full of guys that is. Russell Westbrook, James Harden, Kevin Durant, and Paul George. I mean, where's Kyrie?
Kawhi Leonard and Paul George. You're right. The only person missing is Kyrie.
Oh, who did I say? I said KD. I said KD. My bad. KD's over in Phoenix. It's too bad that Kyrie can't be there to join them, though. It really is sad.
Yes, definitely. Fantasy wise, anything changing places or anything shaking up that would make you say, maybe this guy gets an extra bump here, maybe this guy becomes a player there. Bing, bang, bong, nothing.
Well, first of all, Woj is calling that a blockbuster trade.
Not a blockbuster, Doc.
I mean, if we read off the players that Philly got, KJ Martin is the only one who's not washed. And Nick Batum, Robert Covington, PJ Tucker's going to the Clippers. So I don't know that it has big impacts for the Sixers really at all. Maybe Marcus Morris is another one, right? Another one of the old guys that went to Philly.
Yeah.
Maybe he stifles the development of Paul Reed a little bit. I know fantasy guys are already sick of Paul Reed only getting 10 or 15 minutes a night anyway. But then for the Clippers, it dilutes the waters, right? So Paul George and Westbrook and Kawhi now have to deal with also having James Harden there to have the ball in his hands. So all three of those guys take a little bit of a hit from what they were doing without Harden there, I think. It's probably not all that helpful for Bones Highland, who was kind of hot and making some noise. He was the backup point guard to Russell, and now Harden's going to be there to kind of mess that up. Norm Powell, I don't think it helps him. I don't know that it necessarily hurts him, but I mean, for it being a marquee name like James Harden in the middle of a trade this big, the fantasy impacts are fairly minimal. But it does hurt if you've got Paul George or you've got Kawhi Leonard. It not only hurts their nightly stats if and when all four of those guys are on the court together, but it also allows that coaching staff to be like, all right, James, you take Tuesday night off.
Yeah.
Russ, you take Thursday. Kawhi, you got Saturday off. I mean, they're going to be able to just hand out days off whenever they want.
But Doc, Adam Silver said it's an 82-game mentality this season.
Hey, tell that to Kawhi Leonard.
Tell it to his uncle. No doubt about it. So that is the big story right there to open up the NBA this morning. James Harden finally getting his wish, getting out there to the Los Angeles Clippers. And then, listen, as far as that team goes, I'm not really impressed with a team of Russell Westbrook, George, Leonard, and Harden. It's just a lot of – I wouldn't even call it a team, Doc. I would call it a collection of individuals. I don't think this moves the needle in the Western Conference at all.
I mean – there's no denying the talent, and there's no denying the athleticism and putting those four players together. It's like a weird scientific experiment. If it works, it'll be a miracle.
Yeah,
but it could work. I mean, they're all so good. It's almost like kind of a mini Olympic team. Like just throw these four guys out there and see what happens. I don't think it moves the needle much. I still think Phoenix is probably a little bit better. I still think Denver's better, but I don't know. We'll have to see how it goes. If they all play along well and don't get in fights in the sandbox, and I don't know. It's going to be interesting to watch it go down. I'll say that.
I think the Philadelphia 76ers win the trade by subtraction, really.
I mean, they win the trade by distraction.
You're
the
right.
Distraction, subtraction. It's good. It's good for Philly to have Harden out of there. I think if I'm a Sixers fan, I wake up this morning, I'm going to be like, wait, we just gave James Harden away for 3 old guys and KJ Martin.
But you don't have to worry about James Harden. Yeah, exactly.
At least he's
gone. You don't have to worry about James Harden. That situation is over when he comes back to the Wells Fargo Center later on this year. If he decides to play that night, you can go ahead and give him a healthy Harding smattering of booze. Doc, to start
if he decides
to play that night. Doc, to start the season, fantasy wise, who have been the main additions to fantasy rosters this week?
Well, Cam Thomas obviously has been a monster. He had 33 again last night. I'm in a 30-team league and have him on my team. And
that's a big addition. If you have him on your team in a 30-team league, you're in a real good spot.
Yeah, but you didn't hear me out, bro. I had him on my bench last week. So that kind of stunk. But I had him in there this week for 4 games. Of course, I lost De'Aaron Fox. Whatever. It's Cam Thomas scored 33 again last night. Are they going to let him do this all year? It looks like they might, man. He's big time in the six man award race. Like, I know this is a betting show that we should be putting some money on Cam for 6 man. I'm sure the odds are pretty sweet. And then my guy, Jalen Johnson of the Atlanta Hawks has looked really, really good. 3rd-year player, really fitting in well. He looks better than Trey. He looks about as good as anybody else on that team. Just has a nose for the ball. He's playing the right way. He looks right. He passes the eye test, Corey. And you watch him play, and he's putting on a show almost every night. The numbers may not be spectacular yet, but it's coming. So he's been hot. Derek Lively, the center for the Mavs, he was a hot pickup for a minute, but he had a matchup problem in game 2. He had a foul trouble problem in game 3. He's not getting a ton of minutes, so everybody's kind of cooling off on him right now, which means it might be a good time to grab him. And then in Cleveland, you've got Max Strus putting up double-doubles with rebounds.
Yeah, he's going
tons
crazy.
Of threes. He looks incredible. And then you've got Karis LeVert scored 31 with a bunch of assists last game. And they play 4 times this week. So those guys are pretty hot pickups too.
No doubt about it. Right quick, as far as most improved player, Cam Thomas up to 14-1 for the most improved player award. Tyrese Maxey is shortest odds at plus 200. Scotty Barnes at 2-1. Cade Cunningham 10-1. Jalen Duren at 15-1. Those are the top 5 and most improved players, Doc.
Jalen Duren has been amazing. Yeah. And I was looking at shot block leaders last night because I have a bet, a Schurzy bet with my friend Noah, whether Wembanyama or Walker Kessler has more blocks this season. I have Wembanyama. But when I was looking at that, I noticed that Scotty Barnes is averaging 3 blocks a game right now. He's up there with all the leaders. Embiid and him and a couple other guys have 3. So that's pretty interesting about Scotty Barnes. That's a wild start for him.
Yep. 6th man of the year, Emmanuel Quickly, currently the guy with the shortest odds at plus 650. Quick been getting it done so far this season. Norman Powell then at 10-1. Then you got Malik Monk at 11-1. Cam Thomas at 12-1. And then Chris Paul coming in at 14-1. Chris Paul is kind of fit into this Golden State villain. Like, Golden State has always been a babyface team. Chris Paul is a perfect heel for that team.
Yeah, and if you saw him last night, that move he put on, I don't know who he put it on, but he crossed over.
Classic Chris Paul move. Yep.
Fade away from just inside the 3-point line. he didn't look like he was, 49 or 50 years old or whatever he is. He looked more like he was 20, 24. So I think the drop in minutes for him and taking some of the pressure off him to be the man the whole game is going to actually it's going to work out better than I originally thought it would, especially if he's cool with coming off the bench and going for 6-man.
No doubt. So there you go right there. Steve Kerr getting it done so far. All right, Doc, so far this season, we have, let me see, 1, 2, 3. We got a couple of teams I'm going to read to you. These are the teams so far this season that are 3-0 against the spread. I want to get some of your thoughts on these teams. Well, this hasn't updated yet because one of these teams did take an ATS loss last night. Well, two of these teams did. All right, so Brooklyn, Detroit, they did win against the spread last night. Brooklyn, Detroit, New Orleans, and Orlando lost. So Brooklyn, Detroit, Philadelphia, and Phoenix are the undefeated ATS teams. I guess Brooklyn is there because they're undervalued by odds makers, correct?
I don't know. They're doing this without Cameron Johnson and without Nick Claxton. And it's all Cam Thomas, man. I don't know how to explain it. I don't know that anyone really saw this coming. I think there's people out there who are gonna say, "Well, I saw this coming, man. I love the Nets, and I think they're gonna be really good." But I don't know that we really saw this coming. They're only 1-2. They've got this, but they hung in there with Dallas, who's undefeated, and they hung in there with Cleveland.
Should have won the Cleveland game. They were very close to possibly pulling that one off. That's that night when Mitchell, did his thing where he's like thinking sometime be the best closer in the league. Now, Doc, here's a more interesting list. Teams that don't have an ATS win this year. Now, this is updated last night as well, but we don't have an ATS win for the Rockets. There has been no ATS win for the Trailblazers and no ATS win for the Celtics yet. And mainly the Celtics are overvalued. The Chicago Bulls got an ATS win last night. The Cavaliers also got one ATS win so far. The Lakers won against the spread last night over Orlando. The spread was 2. The Lakers won the game by 3. But curious, though, the team that sticks out right here is the Chicago Bulls. They put a lot of fight into that win over the Pacers last night. I was on the Pacers, Doc. I like the Pacers a lot. But I think the Bulls are going to be sellers this year.
Yeah. Kobe White, I was pretty fired up about him coming into the season, and he has not been very good. I think he had 0 points his previous game. He had 7 points in that game against the Pacers.
He may have left that game last night.
What's that?
He may have left that game last night. He may have come back, though, but I think at one point he did exit. I'm not sure if he was if he came back or not, but he did exit that game at one point last night.
Well, he had 4 fouls, and he only played 25 minutes, so yeah, he might have got hurt. I haven't heard about that yet, but I think everybody was expecting a lot from Pat Williams, and we're not really getting that. So it's basically Levine, DeRozan, and Vooch against the world right now, and yeah, I don't. It's kind of a boring team to watch.
It really is. Yeah.
I mean, I don't. The DeMar DeRozan's mid-range game doesn't really translate to television all that well. Vooch is just out there plodding around doing his thing. 24 and 17. I mean, those are solid fantasy numbers, but it's just kind of boring.
Yeah, no, they are. I think they'll become settlers at some point this year. They've already had a players-only meeting. Already seen some dust-ups on the bench with the head coach, Billy Donovan, and Vooch. So it could be an interesting season for the Bulls. I think Andre Drummond would be a nice piece for the Memphis Grizzlies with the injury to Steve Adams. But, it seems like a perfect fit, but sometimes you'll have personalities on the team that probably wouldn't fit well. And I believe that is probably going to be the case of why you don't see Drummond in Memphis.
Interesting. Yeah.
A lot of times, Doc, these dudes know the same ladies. Let's just put it like that.
Yeah.
It happens.
But
You know what I'm saying?
Memphis could use some Steven Adams backup insurance. That's for sure.
Yeah, because they haven't looked good at all so far this season.
Memphis, yeah, I mean, you take their starting center and their starting point guard.
Yeah, that'll do it every time, huh?
Throw them in the trash can for a minute. It's not going to end well in most scenarios. Now, Marcus Smart is playing very, very good for them, very well, I think, for them, and I feel like JJJ has been good. I feel like Desmond Bain's been good. They're missing a spark, and that probably their anchor in the middle and their point guard.
So it's going to be
0-4.
Yeah, it was going to be, and it hasn't really been pretty either. You get down early, and all of the games, and really struggle to come back. A lot of missed shots. It doesn't look like how they've looked the past 4 years. They've made this rise. So interesting to see what happens as we get into December and later on. Now, Doc, later on this week, the NBA in-season tournament gets tipped off. Make sure I didn't say kicked off, because you don't kick in basketball. You tip the ball off, not kick the ball off, right? Now,
tip off.
Yes, a tip off. So let me explain, Doc, you know what I'm saying, exactly how this is going to play out, right? So you have 3 groups. You got a group A, a group B, and a group C in the East, and you have a group A, B, and C in the West, right? Now, these teams, so in each group, Doc, you have 5 teams, right?
Which that's 15 on each side, and that's 30 total. So every team in the NBA is in this tournament.
Yes, every team in the NBA is in this tournament. So what they're going to do, Doc, is not really going to affect the schedule much. It's basically the same schedule. The teams in your group, those teams will play each other on Tuesday and Friday nights in the month of November. All right, regular schedule, but on Tuesday and Friday nights, starting this Friday, they'll have like a different court, like a design on the court, introducing us to in-season tournament play. Now, here's the deal, Doc. The 3 group winners and 1 wild card from each conference go on to the next round, right? So those 4 teams will kind of play in a semifinal style. Well, not a semifinal, a quarterfinal. Yeah, a quarterfinal. Those 4 teams are playing the quarterfinal, single elimination games, and then you'll get to a semifinal matchup in Las Vegas in December and an eventual championship. Now, I am going to read through the groups in each conference and kind of gauge some of your thoughts on potential teams to come out the group. Is that cool with you?
All right. Yeah.
All right.
Yeah, Corey, we can just tell people, like, I don't normally do the Tuesday podcast.
Yes.
I'm filling in. I didn't know what we were talking about. You're like, oh, we're talking about the in-season tournament, which you and I have talked about on other podcasts before. And as you know, I've studied for this 0%. Yeah. I'm going in blind, but that's okay. I can still look at the standings. And it is kind of a cool idea, though, because it's going to make a regular season game in November mean more than it probably should.
Yeah, 100%. It doesn't mean that James Harden's going to play in it, though, but still, you know what I'm saying? Here we go, Doc. Group A in the Eastern Conference is led by the Philadelphia 76ers, who have the shortest odds to win the group, followed by the Cleveland Cavaliers. Then you have your Atlanta Hawks, the Indiana Pacers, and the Detroit Pistons. To me, I see this as a spot to where the Pacers could possibly come out. They are plus 550 to win the group. Other than that, 76ers, Cavaliers, Hawks, Pacers, Pistons. Your thought on that grouping, Doc?
Well, I'm an Indy guy. My bold prediction this year was the Pacers were going to shock the world and win the East. Like they wanted a bold prediction. I gave them one. But I think the Pacers are. They lost the Bulls last night, but
they were terrible. From 3 last night.
They what?
They were terrible from 3 last night. That's why they lost that game. Yeah.
Yeah. But they have the perfect blend of youth and experience and maturity. And Carlisle just signed a long-term deal. Bruce Brown's looked pretty good for them. He's going to be a leader on and off the court. So kind of like Indy, I like those odds. Philly's probably going to be the team to advance out of
Yeah,
that.
definitely. I would probably agree with you on that, but I would take a shot on the Pacers as well. Group B, it's a little bit more difficult in Group B. You got the Milwaukee Bucks as the favorite in the group, but you also have the Miami Heat in this group, which is interesting because the Heat give the Bucks trouble, even though the Bucks were able to get that victory last night. Then you have the Knicks, followed by the Wizards and the Hornets. So really, Doc, this right here is you could say a 2-team grouping. I'll say a 3-team grouping. I know the Knicks definitely have always struggled with Giannis and the Bucks. You think this is an easy group to the Bucks, or you think there could be a surprise in here?
No, I think Miami's going to give them everything they can handle.
Really?
Yeah, Drew's not there anymore to play defense.
That makes
Dame
sense.
doesn't play defense. Chris Middleton is running around on one leg. So I think Miami's going to battle Milwaukee. I don't know who's going to come out of there between those two. I think you're right. It is a 3-team race. The Knicks do have a fighter's chance, but I'm probably not going to put any money on the Knicks.
Yeah.
I think I would go with the Bucks and would not be surprised if the Heat come out of there.
All right. And then in Group C in the East, the Boston Celtics are a -155 favorite. The Boston Celtics happen to be the favorite to win the in-season tournament, followed by the Raptors at 5-1, the Nets at +550, Orlando at 7-1, then the Chicago Bulls also at 7-1. The Bulls and the Magic, interestingly, have the same odds. You wouldn't have thought that coming into the season. I would guess not. But this looks like a one group race with the Celtics on top of this one, Doc.
It does, except for those. Well, yeah. I mean, maybe the Nets get Cam
hot one night
and Nick Claxton back. I mean, the Nets are going to be interesting when that happens because we really haven't seen the Nets yet.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, I mean, I think Boston's going to win the whole thing this year. I think they should be the favorite to win not only the East but the whole NBA championship. So I would think that they are coming out of this group.
Yeah, I think,
and they're 3-0. They're rolling. They look good.
I think a team like either the Knicks or the Pacers could be that 4th team, that wild card to come out the East.
Miami.
Oh yeah, you're right. Miami too. I didn't think about Miami. Yes, that's right, because that's that
Miami Nets, Pacers, and Cavaliers. Yeah, I like all of them. Atlanta had an interesting night last night because they were down by 21
and won
in the third quarter, and I was so close to just turning it over to Luka full time and watching football. And Luka, I stuck with it. A big reason is because I'm getting ready to do a podcast with Bob Rathman as soon as we're done here. And I figured I should at least know what happened in the game last night if I'm going to talk to the voice of the Hawks. But I stuck with it, and DeJounte Murray went on this crazy tear with Jalen Johnson, and they not only overcame the 21-point deficit, but then built a 20-point lead on their own and just kind of took over the game in the third and fourth quarter. So Atlanta may have figured something out last night. I think they really like playing for I'm gonna space out his name. Quinn. Yeah, they like playing for him. Everybody seems to be getting along pretty well. They haven't looked great, but they haven't looked that bad either. So I think there's several teams: Indiana, Atlanta, Miami, the Nets. Any of those 4 could sneak into that 4th spot.
Do you think the Hawks are a top 6 in the East or a play-in team?
They're right there on that bubble.
Okay. So they're like 6-7 right there.
I mean, if Trey doesn't start looking like the old Trey, and he just doesn't look happy. He doesn't look like he's having fun. If we don't see Trey out there, doing Trey things that he was doing when he was just burning it up 2 years ago, then it might be a long season for the Hawks. But they do have hope. This Jalen Johnson kid, I'm telling you, he's going to be the man.
All right, let's get to the Western Conference. Western Conference Group A, Doc. Phoenix Suns, Los Angeles Lakers, Memphis Grizzlies, Utah Jazz, Portland Trailblazers. This group right here, top heavy with the Suns and the Lakers.
But Portland looks so good. Don't you think they're gonna make a run and come out of there?
I don't, Doc. I don't see it happening.
Hey,
Scoot.
At least DeAndre Ayton showed up to a basketball game last night.
Yeah, that's true.
He had 23 boards, 10 points and 23 boards.
He went off last night. He got in somebody's face and all of that.
Or was it 23 points and 10 boards? I don't know. I just saw 23 and I thought it had to be a typo. So yeah, I think everybody thinks Phoenix is going to win the West. It seems like I still like Denver. I didn't think Dallas would be 3-0 at this point.
I didn't either.
Again, Luka's sort of taken over the league, right? Like every night, Luka is putting on a just incredible show.
He may average a triple-double. He may average a triple-double this year.
And he's just scoring so many points, and he's hitting trick shots, and it's just been crazy to watch. But so that group comes down obviously to Phoenix and the Lakers. And is that you said Lakers, not Clippers, right?
Yes, sir.
Yeah. And the Lakers have not looked great, but they've got a couple wins. They got time to figure it out. Austin Reeves has yet to get on track, really. He hasn't really put up the big numbers we've been waiting for, but D'Angelo looks good. LeBron looks good. AD looks pretty good. So I'm going to take Phoenix, but I might put money on the Lakers.
I don't understand why they don't have a West Group B in here, but here's West Group C. Write these down, Doc, and then I'll find. I don't understand. Did I miss something right here? I know. I guess it'd probably be easy to figure out who the teams are. But anyway, West Group C is Warriors, Kings, Timberwolves, Thunder, and Spurs.
That's interesting. Are those in order of odds?
Yes, I'm sorry. Let me read the odds to you. Are the Warriors with the shortest odds at plus 165. Then you got the Kings at plus 250. The Timberwolves at plus 375. The Thunder, this is a tough group. The Thunder at plus 400, and the Spurs bring up the rear at 12-1.
I think I'm going all in on the Thunder right there.
I feel like I'm with you on that one. Doc, would I be publicly shamed if I said the Oklahoma Thunder are the second best team in the West?
Maybe you would, because of a little team called the Denver Nuggets.
I said second best because I don't believe.
You think the Thunder might be better than Phoenix?
Yes,
I like that, man, because I'm not sold.
I'm not sold on Phoenix either,
and I never was sold on Phoenix. But everybody on every show that I've been on is Phoenix this, Phoenix that. Phoenix is gonna win it all. And I don't know if I let it brainwash me or if it was peer pressure or if I'm just one of those guys who follows the leader and jumping off the bridge if somebody else is jumping off the bridge. But I love the Thunder, man. And Jalen Williams went off last night. They got SGA. Chet's playing better than Vic. Josh Giddey. They're so fun. I love the Thunder. We were talking about, if there were league pass tiers, they would be in tier 1,
definitely
spot 1 for us. And I'm all in. I love the Thunder.
All right, we got Group B here, courtesy of the producer Keith. And now I notice why the group is not on the board, because it includes the Los Angeles Clippers. It is the Denver Nuggets, the Los Angeles Clippers, the New Orleans Pelicans, the Dallas Mavericks. Bringing up the rear is the Houston Rockets. Interesting group. Obviously, the Nuggets the favorite, followed by the Clippers, the Pelicans, the Mavs. But the Pelicans and the Mavs have been playing good basketball this year. I like them more than I like the Clippers. I don't know if I like them more than I like the Nuggets, though. Could see a potential wild card come out of this round, out of this group right here.
Well, yeah, Brandon Ingram and Zion Williamson have both been healthy, both been playing pretty well. Pelicans 2-1 to start the season, so I think this is a tough group, man.
Yeah,
Denver, you got the former All-Star Clippers which that's just going to be fascinating. The Pelicans are fun. The Mavericks are undefeated. Luka is on a tear. He doesn't even need Kyrie out there, apparently. Kyrie didn't play last night. He woke up with some foot discomfort and decided he couldn't go. And what was interesting about that, I was watching the broadcast, and they're like, Kyrie Irving may not play tonight. And I was like, dude, Kyrie Irving was ruled out like 4 hours ago. Like, what do you guys?
Yeah, for real.
What do you guys do? What are you reading or watching? And
you never know.
He went on
NBA,
to say, he's like, yeah, it sounds like he won't play tonight. And I was like, well, first of all, he's Kyrie Irving, and foot discomfort. He does, he's not going to play. No. Secondly, y'all need to either I need a better news source or they need a better news source, because that was weird. But the Mavericks, I don't know if you bet against Luka right now, but dude, I think you and I both know this. It just takes Luka grabbing his ankle one time, and then he misses 4 games, and then the wheels fall off, and it takes him time to get, re-migrated back into the flow of things. And it only takes one Luka problem for Dallas to just be terrible. So we'll just ride that as long as we can.
All right,
but
go ahead.
Hard to bet against Denver.
Definitely. All right, so Group 1 kicks off this Friday. Group play kicks off this Friday. Here are the games this Friday for group play. The Cavaliers and the Pacers. So we get to the action right away. You know what I'm saying? These two teams just played. These two teams have played already, with the Pacers getting the win. We got Knicks and Bucks. Knicks got to go out to Milwaukee, which has been a house of horrors for them. Then you got the Wizards and the Heat. Then you got the Nets and the Bulls. That's going to be an interesting one right there, Doc, as far as potential wild cards. And you got the Warriors and the Thunder. The Warriors and the Thunder. That's going to be fabulous. Then you got the Mavericks and the Nuggets. Hopefully Luka will be around for that game. And then group play ends Friday night with the Grizzlies and the Trailblazers. Grizzlies 0-4, Trailblazers 1-3. So that's how group play shakes up. That is night 1 of the tournament, Doc.
So every game on Friday is a tournament game.
It's a tournament game, yes.
And every game on Tuesday
will be a tournament
game.
Yes.
Okay. I can get behind this a little bit. That's going to be fun.
All right. And now, as far as tonight's slate, Doc,
that Golden State at OKC is big.
That's going to be the league pass game of the year.
And that Dallas at Denver is going to be fun too.
Yes.
Luka and Jokic.
The nationally broadcast games will be Knicks Bucks, and Mavericks Nuggets will be the national broadcast games for night 1 of that. So we get to see Milwaukee and them hosting. Now tonight, Doc, the Knicks and the Cavaliers. Knicks are 3.5-point favorites. The Spurs and the Suns. The Suns are big 7.5-point favorites. Wembanyama gets a national televised spot. And then the night ends with who else? The Clippers and the Orlando Magic. Almost as if they were in on the trade last night. Any thoughts on tonight's slate? Knicks, a favorite on the road, is interesting versus the Cavs. I do believe Donovan Mitchell is going to be a game time decision.
Oh, I think it comes down to whether or not Mitchell plays. If Mitchell doesn't play, I like the Knicks. If Mitchell plays, I like Cleveland. San Antonio at Phoenix. I mean, San Antonio's just getting run out of the gym. The last couple of times I've turned it on. Who beat them the other night? They were down like 25 on Thursday. Or no, on was it Monday night? No, Sunday night. I don't know. They were down big. Yeah. And I'm sitting there watching Wembanyama, and they're just getting blown out. So Phoenix is going to run them. What's the line on that game?
7.5. The Suns are 7.5-point favorites.
I think I'm all in on the Suns. Minus the points. I needed a 3-point shot from Franz Wagner in the 4th quarter last night to win a bunch of money on underdog. I just can't have anything nice. Corey.
No,
I need 2 threes out of LeBron.
To the quiet, Doc.
I need 2 threes out of LeBron. He hits 3 of them. I need a bunch of points, rebounds, and assists from Anthony Davis. He runs that thing out of the ballpark. And then I'm sitting here looking at, with the whole 4th quarter to go, Franz has 16 points. His over's 18.5. I just need 3 points. Yeah. That's it. He can't do. I mean, He was 5 for 17. All right, I'm off the rails here. Harden ain't going to be playing tonight. The Clippers are going to be shorthanded. Orlando's going on a back-to-back
on the road, but it's the same building though, so it's not really a typical road back-to-back. A young team in this spot, I can get behind it because probably too pooped or maybe scared to go out in Los Angeles last night. You know what I'm saying? And they get to basically stay in the same location. It's not like they have to travel, so not your typical road back-to-back rest spot. A young team, I would take a shot on the Magic tonight.
What's the line?
The point spread currently is sitting at the Orlando Magic or 6.5-point underdogs.
Yeah, I mean, well, yeah, and do we know are Kawhi and Paul George both playing in this game?
I will get that right now. Like, you know, the NBA changes every 30 seconds. But our early injury report for that contest tonight has Terrence Mann is out. Norman Powell's a game time decision. James Harden is a game time decision. So there you go. So really just Mann and Powell are the injury scenario right there.
Yeah, I think even though they didn't have to travel, it's still back-to-back. They still played a bunch of minutes last night. Probably going to give guys a little breather tonight. Maybe not play them as heavy minutes in Orlando. So I like the Clippers.
All right. Bradley Beal is out tonight. Devin Booker will be a game time decision in that matchup. And then we already mentioned the situation with Donovan Mitchell. Donovan Mitchell will be a game time decision. Darius Garland and Jared Allen are out. Knicks 3.5-point favorite in that one. Knicks have no injuries to worry about right now. I'm sure the Cavaliers will be looking for payback from last season.
Bradley Beal, man, what is going on? Like, he was supposed to be the savior and be the third, the third limb of that tree, and we haven't seen him yet. And Booker, I hope Booker's not going to be out too long.
Yeah, so there you go. All right, so sportstopia.io is the headquarters site. You go over there, catch all of Dr. A's work, obviously on this YouTube channel right here. Hit subscribe, hit the like button, you know what I'm saying? And we plan on being here to help you navigate your way through the NBA season. For my man, Dr. A, is Corey Parson, the fantasy executive. Sportstopia dramatic theme music will take us home.